Dien da chaza wane nisho za ji om je je ma pa ma dhamma la chaza lo chaza dhamma nima ba chene ge ja lo da dhamma jide sum ye chu ge sha lang je ge sara je wa le ne jom chaza den je da wa gen do ga wa je ne se be se ma karma ton da so ba nam je rab da chere wa ram bar chaza sar ngo chene je pe ma chene nam ran je
The
ma je
audience
ba che ba la
recites
da
the
she Saba
Tara
san je je
praises
nye ma chaza de she
while
she
His
ge
Holiness
zo do ta ye
prepares.
nam ran je wa je Male bar chimba don be anje vesi geshen don de ma chaza tu dara win je de da shoda nam je gam chiten tu mo shab ge nen de loba me bara gobra ne ma chaza ge zen me la zam ba lo la na zong je je chumbar la ti sa nam da ne je she ge de ne de ma chaza ta je jan na be je par tu ga ra don je igen gem she ge nen de me ba tu wa shen don bara ma chaza tu re ji ba che mo do je ba nam ne je she ge do Tanya jen je on je re ba da ba nam ne je ma cha za de ma je ma she ma na nge de she je nye saom da ya da de ben de ba cham ba je ba nye ma cha za ku ne ka ra ga ve da ne ne rab den je ige je ben ga ne ko be re ba la de ba nye ma cha za da re shan na da be hun ye na be sa be nye re ra men da ra da be je de sum na ye wa nye ma cha za la ye che na be re ja da je shan na Tarani je bege hen je dana male banda se ma chaza la ye chune jambo la da miam je de kune ko chang ga we je je zada me la nyam ba se ma chaza ni man da wan je be ji nyam ba la ra se harani je to da ra ye shin de da be re ne se ma chaza de ne su na go be de da la ne je so na jumba de re rab je ni ma za we nga je den ban de chaza wan ne ni shen za je
The 100-syllable mantra. So to all those who are gathered here, and since we just have gotten over the Tibetan New Year, I wish you
Hello, check test.
आज यहाँ पाल्नुभएको सबै ठुल्ठुला गुरुहरू खोन वंशजका रिम्पोछेहरू खेम्पो तुल्कु निर्वाणकाय भिक्षु भिक्षुनी उपासक उपासिका तपाईहरू सबैजनालाई यो अहिले हाम्रो नयाँ वर्ष सुरु भएको छ। यो नयाँ वर्षमा म तपाईहरू सबैजनालाई भित्र मनदेखि नै नमस्कार टक्राउन चाहन्छु। नमस्कार।
So I wish that everything good happens and that all the difficulties and obstacles are dispelled during this new year. And then to prepare with the right motivation is extremely important, because when we prepare to receive empowerment, it all depends on the motivation that one has. And so if we have the wrong motivation, not only it will not have any benefit, but it will bring a lot of bad consequences. And so if we have the right motivation, it is said that even though we do not know much, we will receive a lot of benefits.
यदि तपाईहरुको विचार तपाईले गर्ने भावना राम्रो भएन भने एकदम गाह्रो हुन्छ। त्यसकारण यो आयु अभिषेक लिन अगाडि यदि तपाईको नराम्रो विचार छ भने अवश्य पनि यो आयु अभिषेक लिए तापनि तपाईलाई नराम्रै हुन्छ। यदि हावातालमा के भइराछ त भनेर हेर्न आयो तपाईलाई आयु अभिषेक लिएर के फाइदा यदि तपाईको आयु अभिषेक अगाडि एकदम राम्रो विचार गरेर आयु अभिषेक लिएर भने त्यसको फल पनि तपाईलाई धेरै राम्रो हुन्छ।
So when it comes for the right motivation, the motivation that we should strive to have, thinking about all sentient beings, of suffering within the samsara, and generate the Thangton wishes. May I do everything how nice if I could by any means make all of them be free from suffering and reach to the second place. Because of the quality of the sadhana, I'm guessing that she's not the same. So I excuse myself from that.
अब हाम्रो मुख्य उद्देश्य
And so
के हो
the
भन्दाखेरि
ultimate, the real purpose of receiving this power is to be able to reach for enlightenment. And then in order for that to happen, it's very huge amount of merits. We need to purify a lot of the temporary means which to have a long life, to be without any sicknesses, and that everything that we wish for is achieved. And so it is really important that you generate that motivation for receiving empowerment, that today I will receive this empowerment, and after that I will do everything that is possible for me to follow all the samayas and the engagements, the promises, and then I will practice everything that is in my capacities in order for me to reach enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings.
अनि यो लिने बेला पनि म राम्रोसँग
And so
सिलमा
when
पालन
you receive
गर्छु
this
सिल पालन
empowerment,
गरेर
you
राम्रोसित
should
म
by
अभिषेकलाई
with your
अभ्यास
body
गर्छु भन्ने
stay,
भावना हुनुपर्दछ
sit
र यो अभिषेक
in a
लिने
respectful
बेलामा पनि
position
तपाईहरुको
without
शरीर
moving
वचन
around with
मनको
your speech.
आचरण
You
व्यवहार चाहिँ
should
राम्रो हुनुपर्छ
remain
तपाईको
silent
शरीर सिधा
during most of the
एकदम
time,
श्रद्धाका
except
साथ
for
तपाईहरु बस्नुपर्छ
repeating,
हात
etc.
जोडेर
And with the
बस्नुपर्छ
mind,
मुखले पनि
for every
तपाईले चाहिँ
word
गुरुहरुको
that
चाहिँ
you
बखान
recite or
गरेर प्रशंसा
repeat,
गरेर
then
बस्नुपर्दछ
and for
र
every
चित्तले
part of the
तपाईले
empowerment
सबैको हित
to
गर्नका लागि म अभिषेक लिन
do
जाँदैछु
it
भनेर
properly
यसरी
and
काया
make
वाका
every word
चित्तद्वारा
that you say
एकदम
correspond to
राम्रोसँग व्यवहार
what you
गरेर
think and
तपाईले
what you
आयु
consider
अभिषेक
that is
लिनु
happening.
पर्दछ
So you should have the right contact with your body, speech, and mind.
अब यो अहिले हामीले
And
लिन
so
लागेको
since
आयु
this
अभिषेक यो
empowerment,
तन्त्रयान
this
अन्तर्गत
practice
पर्दछ यो
belongs to
वज्रयान हो र यो
the
वज्रयानमा
unsurpassable
तपाईले
tantras,
आफू
then it is really
साधारण मान्छे
important that you
भएर
consider that
गुरुलाई पनि
the
साधारण
place
रूपमा
that you are
सम्झेर
found
कहिले पनि अभिषेक
inside
लिन
is not an
मिल्दैन
ordinary
त्यसकारण तपाईहरु सबैजनाले अब
environment,
भावना
but it
गर्नुस्
is
त अहिले म
pure Buddha
बसिरहेको
field,
ठाउँ सुखावती
and
जस्तै
that the
बुद्ध
people
भूमि हो
around you such as
मलाई
pure
अभिषेक
Buddhism,
दिन
such as
दिने हुने
Suryagupta,
गुरु
that you
पनि
should not consider
अनि
that people
थाङतोङ
around you
ग्याल्पो
are
गुरु या गुरु रिम्पोछे या कुनै एउटा
are
इष्टदेव
the
हो भनेर
are
भावना
ordinary
गर्नुहोस्
sentient beings,
र
but rather
आफू
they are
र आफ्नो
deities.
साथीहरू तपाईँको
And
अहिले जो
then
जो आउनु भएको छ परिवारहरू
you
सबै
yourself also
मान्छेहरूलाई
do not consider
तपाईँले
that you are an
इष्टदेव
ordinary
कुनै एउटा
person,
देवताको
but
रूपमा भावना
that
गर्नुहोस्
you
त्यसकारण
are
देखेको
the
सबै प्राणीहरू देवता
post-meditation
हुन्
deity of whatever
मैले
practice
सुनेको
that you're
सबै
doing.
आवाजहरू
And
मन्त्र हुन्
in
र मेरो
short, you should
मनमा
consider
राम्रा
that
नराम्रा
everything
जे
that
कुरा
is
खेलिरहेको त्यो सबै
seen,
ज्ञान हो
heard, and thought
भनेर चाहिँ
has
तपाईँले
the
आजको
nature
यो
of
अभिषेक
deity,
लिनु
meaning that
पर्दछ
every appearance should be perceived as every sound like the mantra and every thought like the wisdom.
Tumo tu jena ola ya ta guru mshi loma cheja. Ani khanda konge kap tidu ki pyo khanjing ki chongi sanyin chumda risu ma chebe kaso tamwa nyegyu menga tada sen seba zambu ma sebe tunyam su shene ene chube komba tombo shako tilajimako.
And so the empowerment that we receive today comes from a practice that was revealed by Tangtong Gyalpo. And Tangtong Gyalpo was someone who lived at the same time as Jetson Kapa, who was his contemporary. And so even though in reality Tangtong Gyalpo was a manifestation of Padmasambhava himself, in the eyes of people, he was seen as a disciple of Padmasambhava, of Guru Rinpoche, and so he received, practiced, and passed on all the teachings and traditions from all the empowerments from all the traditions.
Thangton Gyalpo Guru mahasiddha पनि हुनुहुन्थ्यो
Tangtong Gyalpo was said to be a mahasiddha, a great accomplished master, and there are still some things that we can see of his accomplishments, such as there are small amounts of earth that he gathered by going around the whole world in one day. These can be still seen today.
나람 저보다 다난 저보다 진짜 많이 먹어서 주주기 권의 상도 바지를 패네 구르를 무시다 샤자 구르를 무시 권의 샤네 이니까로 망부세 타버데 구르를 무시 규슈어 비추되네 담바도 지점바 등이 나갈 셴발라 에는 조고조고 심비 주분자 주주 자시로서 쇼거를 마음도 세바임바레
And the teachings that Tangtong Gyalpo received, the practices were not like when he was in dreams or by pure vision, but he personally, through magical means, went to Zangtopari, to the realm of Guru Rinpoche, and then from Guru Rinpoche personally, he received all the teachings, empowerments, and not only that, but then he also received all the great perfection teaching tantras, the 84,000 tantras of the great perfection from Vajrasattva who appeared in the sky, and he received it together with Guru Rinpoche.
사자 개체사든지야 줄라칸 샹나야래 구sun 두된 샹나야래 애들 학벌도야 갑티디 추셔버든지라 미주 파주 조마도바 강에게바 인디전에 공부 주주기권에 자르 삼바든지 주권난체 살아야 애들 주도 작삼바스 작은 삼바든지 단단히 무슨 자예요. 공기 주주기 거는 세만난지 제가 주도 자산바세 쇼구야 이말.
उहाँ
And
छाउँदो
then
पालीमा
after
गुरु
this,
रिम्पोचेसँग
when he
उहाँले
was
धेरै
still with
उपदेशहरू लिनु
in
भएको
in
बेलामा गुरु
Zandopari,
रिम्पोचेले उहाँलाई
Guru
अब
Rinpoche
तिमी
told
यहाँ
him
धेरै
that
बसेर काम
his
छैन
activity
तिमीले
would unfold
तिब्बतमा
in
फर्क र
the
तिब्बतमा मैले
snow of the
5 वटा
lands in
तेर
Tibet,
निधि
and that
तेर
he should go
ढुकाएको छु
there and
त्यसलाई
then
निकाल र
do the
प्राणीहरूको हित
welfare
गर
of sentient
भनेर
beings
चाहिँ
in
गुरु
Tibet.
रिम्पोचेले
And so
आदेश दिनुभयो
he
त्यो
went in
आदेश
Tibet, and then
पाइसकेपछि
he
थान्तोङ ग्याल्पो गुरु
benefited
तिब्बतमा फर्किनु भएर
sentient beings
जहाँ
there.
जहाँ
He
स्तूपा छैन
established
स्तूपा बनाउनु
monasteries
भयो
in the
गुम्बा
most
नभएको ठाउँमा
important
गुम्बा
places,
बनाउनु भयो
power
प्रत्येक
places in
व्यक्तिहरूलाई
Tibet.
धर्म देशना
He
पनि
also
दिनुभयो अनि
had
उहाँले
constructed
चाहिँ त्यहाँ
support
तिब्बतमा
of the
ठुला
Buddhist
ठुला
speech
नदीहरू
and
पनि
mind
छन्
of the
ठुला ठुला
enlightened ones.
नदीहरूमा आरपार
And
गर्न धेरै
non
गाह्रो
mi
हुने
arriva
बेलामा उहाँले
nessuna
रीति
traduzione in
प्रतिहारले
inglese.
क्षमताद्वारा जादुई किसिमले
Ho pensato
फलामको
di
पुल पनि
leggervi
बनाउनु भयो
also
la
at
जसलाई
that time,
trascrizione
त्यो
di
people had a
queste
lot of
बनाइसकेपछि अनि
difficulty
leggeri
तिब्बती
crossing the
जनताहरूले
rivers and
थान्तोङ ग्याल्पोलाई
associazioni da
फलामे
parte
पुलवाला
crossing
भनेर पनि
rivers, and so
नामाकरण
he by
गर्नुभयो र
magical
यो
means
फलामको पुल
pensando che
थान्तोङ
state
ग्याल्पोले बनाउनु
richiedendo
built
questo
a lot
भयो
of
profondo
त्यो अहिले पनि
iniziativa
तिब्बतमा दर्शन गर्न पाइन्छ
fine di ottenere per il bene di tutti gli esseri limitati come lo spirito. La preziosa condizione dell'immortale Buddha Mitaios, vi prego di ascoltare quel che vi dirò. Tangtong Gyalpo, il signore di tutti i realizzati, fu davvero benedetto da Guru Rinpoche, Guru nato dal loto. Da lui presero origine due lignaggi, una pratica nota come la pratica di lunga vita che concede gloriosamente l'immortalità. Il lignaggio della trasmissione lunga e il lignaggio della trasmissione breve. Il primo lignaggio ebbe origine dal Signore di tutti i realizzati stesso, cioè Tangtong Gyalpo, costruttore dei ponti di ferro per sotto, e lo trasmise a Tenzin Nyedazan.
थान्तोङ ग्याल्पोले गुरु रिम्पोचेले 5 वटा तेर निधि मैले तिब्बतमा लुकाएको छु भन्दाखेरि उहाँ तिब्बत आउनु भएर 5 वटा तेर निधि उहाँले निकाल्नु भयो त्यो निकालिसकेपछि त्यो तेरहरुमा महत्त्वपूर्ण तेर चाहिँ उहाँले के निकाल्नु भयो भन्दाखेरि लामा सिठो भन्ने एउटा तेर छ त्यो लामा सिठो भित्र चाहिँ आयु अभिषेक छ त्यो अभ्यास छ त्यसकारण उहाँको चाहिँ थान्तोङ ग्याल्पोको चाहिँ मुख्य उहाँको काम के रहेछ भन्दाखेरि उहाँले 5 वटा निधि मध्ये उहाँले लामा सिठो अन्तर्गत पर्ने अनि उहाँले आयु अभिषेक उहाँले निकाल्नु भयो र यो आयु अभिषेक पनि धेरै किसिमको पाइन्छ तर यो अहिले तपाईहरुलाई दिन लागेको थान्तोङ ग्याल्पोको आयु अभिषेक चाहिँ गुरु योगसँग सम्बन्धित छ तपाईहरुलाई थाहा नै छ सम्पूर्ण सिद्धिहरुको स्रोत सम्पूर्ण सिद्धिहरुको मूल जरो भनेको चाहिँ गुरु नै हुनुहुन्छ र यो गुरु योगसँग सम्बन्ध भएको यो आयु अभिषेक भएको हुनाले यो एकदम विशिष्ट र अनुत्तर किसिमको आयु अभिषेक हो
India chiru delaya ringju da niju ni yo ringju sena na tujera loma tendi ni da sangbola sokonde ma lama koma chen ma rimbarda jubite la ringju sena na niju se na tujera ki jule ya kansa legend de sharsik che na delaya niju sena
यो आयु अभिषेक दुई किसिमको पाइन्छ एउटा लामो परम्परा र एउटा छोटो परम्परा लामो परम्परा चाहिँ कस्तो हो भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ तपाईको यो थान्तोङ ग्याल्पोले आफ्नो शिष्य निदा सम्भो भन्ने शिष्यहरू छ र शिष्यहरूलाई दिदा चाहिँ मेरो बुवा र मसम्म आएको लामो परम्परा छ यो चाहिँ लामो परम्परा अन्तर्गत पर्ने गुरुयोगमा आयु अभिषेक भनिन्छ अनि छोटो परम्परा पनि छ छोटो परम्परा भनेको चाहिँ यो भाग्यमानी शिष्यहरूले अभ्यास गर्ने बेलामा थान्तोङ ग्याल्पोले प्रत्यक्ष दर्शन दिएर आयु अभिषेक दिएको पनि पाइन्छ त्यो चाहिँ छोटो परम्परा मानिन्छ
disciples spécifiques
때마다 다나마 송제듯이 레디요 때마다 다나마 송듯이 데리니 부야데 니규디요
यो अहिले तपाईहरुलाई मैले आज दिन लागेको
And so
आयु
the
अभिषेक चाहिँ लामो
empowerment that
परम्परा
I'm
र
going
छोटो
to
परम्परा मध्ये चाहिँ छोटो परम्परा हो र यो
offer you
छोटो
today
परम्परा
comes
चाहिँ
from
कुन
the
विधिबाट
short
आयो भन्दाखेरि
lineage.
हाम्रो
It was
निधिपति
revealed
तेर्तोय
by
निधिपति छेजे
the
लिम्बा
Choedak
भन्ने गुरु
Rinpoche.
हुनुहुन्छ उहाँको
And
अन्तर्गत
so
चाहिँ
the
यो छोटो
practice, as
परम्पराको चाहिँ
far as
आयु
the
अभिषेक म दिन जाँदैछु
self-visualization is
छेजे लिम्बा
concerned,
गुरुले के गर्नुभयो भन्दाखेरि
so
उहाँले
it is
तेरबाट चाहिँ गुरु
visualizing
rinpoche लुकाउनु
oneself
भएको
as
तेरबाट चाहिँ के
Amitayus,
गर्नुभयो भन्दाखेरि
who
पहिला
is
आफू
the
देवता भएर
main,
अभ्यास गर्ने बेलामा चाहिँ आफू
the
त्यो
lord of the
अमपास भन्ने
family
एउटा तन्त्र छ त्यसलाई
of the
अमपास भन्ने
practice of
तन्त्रलाई
Avalokiteshvara, the
विशेष
compassionate one.
मूल
And
बनाएर
the
उहाँले
front
ध्यान गर्ने बेलामा
visualization,
आफूलाई
the
अवलोकितेश्वर
deity in
बनाउनु
front
भयो
of us
र
will
आफ्नो
be
शिरमा अमिताभ बुद्ध राखेर
the one that
अमिताभ
comes
बुद्धको
from the pure
कलशबाट
vision
अमृत झरेर चाहिँ अभ्यास
of
गर्नुभयो
Tangtong Gyalpo
यो एउटा
himself.
अनि
And so
अगाडिपट्टि
this practice
कुनै
is
देवता बोलाएर
combining
अभ्यास गर्ने बेलामा चाहिँ थान्तोङ
both
ग्याल्पोले
the
प्रत्यक्ष
Dharma
उहाँलाई दर्शन दिएर चाहिँ आयु
tradition
अभिषेक
and
दिनुभएको थियो
the pure
त्यसकारण
vision
यो छुइजे
tradition.
लिङ्गको परम्पराबाट आएको आयु अभिषेक हो यसमा तेर पनि छ र एउटा चाहिँ शुद्ध आभास भनेको चाहिँ ध्यान गर्दाखेरि थान्तोङ ग्याल्पोले नै प्रत्यक्ष दर्शन दिएको हुनाले यो तेर पनि हो र धानाङमा पनि हो यो दुईटै हो
Yeju di shira sabu di zeshung nalaya shundev jasari ta nga tongda ri masaba deba ina ine loja tuba tesu mes sumari. Ine indu jane tsewan di minglaya tsewan loja mas siyo.
यो आयु अभिषेक यो आयु
And
अभिषेकको
this
चाहिँ मूल तन्त्रको
transmission
ग्रन्थमा के बताएको छ
of the
भने
short
यसमा
lineage
8
is
वटा लाइनहरु छन्
extremely
यो 8 वटा
effective,
प्रार्थना गर्ने
extremely
8 वटा
profound.
लाइनहरु छन् जुन 8
So
वटा
much so
लाइन
that it is
प्रत्येक
said that
व्यक्तिले
even
यदि
if
प्रत्येक
we
दिन
recite
100
times
8
per
वटा
day
लाइन प्रार्थना
without
गर्ने र प्रत्येक दिन
interruption
मन्त्र
the
1000 चोटि
main
पढेको छ
prayer,
भने
and if
त्यो व्यक्ति
recite
अवश्य पनि
1000
100
times the
वर्ष
mantra,
बाँच्छ भनेर त्यहाँ
and then
लेखिएको
it
छ
is
त्यसकारण पनि
absolutely
यो आयु
certain, there's no
अभिषेकलाई
doubt
100
whatsoever that
वर्ष
we will live up
आयु
to
अभिषेक
100
पनि
years. And
भनिन्छ
it is for that reason that this empowerment is practice is even called the one for 100 years.
र यो आयु अभिषेकको
And so
आशीर्वाद
this
चाहिँ
empowerment
यति भयानक
has
विशाल छ कि थान्तोङ ग्याल्पो
extremely
गुरु आफैले
profound
यो अभ्यास
blessings
गरेर
because
उहाँ
Tangtong Gyalpo
125 वर्ष
himself,
बाँच्नुभयो
he lived up
उहाँका
to
शिष्यहरू पनि
120
उहाँले
some
जति जति आयु
years,
अभिषेक दिनुभयो
and
उहाँका
many of
प्रत्यक्ष
his students
अप्रत्यक्ष शिष्यहरू पनि
lived
100 वर्षभन्दा
well
बढी
above
बाँचेका
100
छन्
years. And so
त्यसकारण यो आयु अभिषेक
this practice
अभ्यास
is
गर्दाखेरि
extremely
धेरै वर्ष
profound
बाँच्न सक्ने
and
लक्षण
full
शुभ
of
लक्षणहरू
blessings.
धेरै भएको हुनाले यो अरू आयु अभिषेक भन्दा पनि भिन्न र फरक छ
Oda teta veni chawan buyal yang da sidu chaka dusha dudu nge che tsare da tanda loma chole ya mong buyal ngon du jowa tene kanso ori das kunron kunju rimba lewa sata be to ne tene da menje buya rimba le.
And so this practice is very different from all others in its blessings. And so now I have prepared everything. I've done all the preparation from my side for bestowing the empowerment. And so from your side, please develop the right motivation, the correct motivation for receiving and practicing. And then on that basis, please make the offering of the mandala.
त्यसपछि अनि हामीले अनि शरीर वचन मनलाई राम्रोसँग श्रद्धा गरेर यो अभिषेक लिनु पर्दछ
अनि छावा समस्या यो दरांग लु लन्ज तुसुम द साबे गेता वात चेबा नम्बर मेन्जर निसी र निन्दा सुन्दा जब ल ट्रुने ने मेन्जर बुयादा नि सोवा देया दिए छ
अब तपाईहरुले आफ्नो यो
so
अभिषेक लिनको लागि तपाईहरुले प्रार्थना गर्नुपर्छ मण्डल चढाउनुपर्छ आफ्नो शरीर वचन मन र भूतकाल वर्तमान र भविष्यमा गर्ने
that you will acquire during the 3 times are all gathered, and you present them in the form of this mandala offering from the elements, and then do these mandala offerings together with the repetitions. The earth is a golden ground, completely pure. The circular iron mountain wall completely surrounds it. In the center is the letter Hong, Meru, the king of mountains. In the east is Purva Videha. In the south is Van Budvipa. In the west is Apara Godani and the North to the Guru behind them and the Hamvidaya, Chamara and Apara Chamara, Satan Uttara Mantrika, Trina Kuravan Kaurava, the Jewel Mountain, the wish fulfilling trees, the wish fulfilling cows, the harvest which needs no sowing, the precious wheel, the precious gem, the precious queen, the precious minister, the precious elephant, the precious horse, the precious general, the vase of great treasure, the goddess of beauty, the goddess of garland, the goddess of song, the goddess of dance, the goddess of incense, the goddess of flowers, the goddess of lights, the goddess of incense, the sun, the moon, the precious umbrella, the royal banner victory in all directions. There is all the bountiful wealth of gods and men, complete and flawless. All this I offer to the Guru, who is inseparable from the principal deity of the Mandala, in order to receive the empowerment of immortal life. Please accept it with compassion for the benefit of beings. Having accepted it, please grant your blessings.
Kunye jebe nyingbo la da me de je baljo jwa taja la ne ba gondo zam nam do je kunye jebe sem je do be je de che je nam je yen kun la jam je sem je yen da je se bra nam bra Chinji Jambo Java Jase Aranja Dalia Nam Jalavi Kunya Gora Kilogora Kondo Nambranje Chumba Gunje Ninjuro Enji Dene Janja Nimbo Bandanje Londa Lonje Tizon Jeve Ngobo Na Simje Kunje Dengire Gube Jela Olora Kune Simbe Jende Ba Yene Amje Dala Zeve Nirgonde Danje Denda Shezo Shene Jinje Lam Do So Omo Guru Budam Bun Santo Sambare Vara Radna Mendal Puja Menga Samoda Sabaran Samaye
Tetar Mendrepende Chumsha Nimba Metoda Je Tamu Jarde Soa Deva Dijen de Gunjen Ishe Humbojen.
Omniscient One, the embodiment of primordial wisdom, who thoroughly purifies the wheel of existence. Lord, with your kindness, grant me this precious treasure of which you have spoken today. Accepting your gracious lotus feet, O Master, I do not have any other refuge, powerful hero for the sentient beings. Please bestow upon me the supreme knowledge.
Joy Bao Tujinji, Lojo Dala Naorzu, Gunjin She Humbojen, Sibe Kolo Namjongwa, Tirin Shebe Rinjender, Joy Dala Kadinzo, Chusha Bemo Bangne, Joy Shana Jamaji, Joy Bao Tujinji, Lojo Dala Naorzu,
So now that after the mandala and the request, then we need to do the 7 branch prayer in order to purify our sentient beings of being. So we should
Lama Yidam Sangye Chanju Samba Chusung Nola Jabzu Chojugo Jengi Pombo Chambu Tibatar Musu Shindu Shuyu Nyambe Mebaze.
अब तपाईहरूले यसरी अभिषेकको
And
लागि
so the
मण्डल पनि
visualization
चढाउनु
that we
भयो
should do
र
is that
मलाई
the
अभिषेक
main
दिनुहोस्
deity in
भनेर
the
प्रार्थना
space in
पनि
front of
तपाईँले
us is
एकचोटि
Tangtong
दोहोऱ्याउनु भयो
Gyalpo.
अब हामीले
On
के
top of
गर्नुपर्छ भन्दा
his
अभिषेक
own
लिनको
crown
लागि
is
हाम्रो
the
चित्त
protector
शुद्ध
Amitabha.
गर्नुपर्छ चित्तलाई सफा गर्नुपर्दछ
At
चित्त
his
सफा गर्नको
throat
लागि अब
is
तपाईँहरू
the
सबैजनाले
rightful
हात जोड्नुहोस्
Hayagriva.
ढाड सिधा
At
गरेर
his
अगाडि
heart is
आकाशमा
Guru
तपाईँहरूले चाहिँ
Rinpoche,
थान्तोङ ग्याल्पो
and
सम्झनुहोस्
all around
थान्तोङ
him
ग्याल्पो
are all the
आकाशमा हुनुहुन्छ तपाईँहरू
masters,
ठिक
the
अगाडि
root
थान्तोङ
masters, the
ग्याल्पोको
lineage
शिरमाथि
masters, all
अमिताभ
the
बुद्ध
Yidam
हुनुहुन्छ
deities, the Buddhas
थान्तोङ
and
ग्याल्पोको
Bodhisattvas,
घाँटीमा
Dharma
हायग्रीवा
protectors,
ताम्दिन
and
हुनुहुन्छ
wealth deity
र
that are
थान्तोङ
all
ग्याल्पोको
assembled
छातीमा चाहिँ गुरु
in
रिम्पोछे
an
बास गर्नुभएको छ
inconceivable,
बस्नु
just
भएको छ
like
सम्झनुहोस्
a
थान्तोङ
huge
ग्याल्पोको
cloud
वरिपरि
bank.
परम्परागत गुरुहरू मूल
And
गुरु
consider that in
परम्परागत
front
गुरुहरू
of them,
वरिपरि
you
छन्
and
भने
all
सम्झनुहोस्
sentient beings perform
इष्टदेवहरू
7
बुद्ध
branch prayer.
बोधिसत्वहरू ढाका ढाकिनेहरू धर्मपालहरू पनि आयु देवहरू सबैजना वरिपरि छन् भनेर मनले त्यसरी भावना गर्नुहोस्
Tine Di Dundu Randa Rangi Tsawe Pamani Gito Chebe Maguna Gretada Nyambi Simjen Tamje Kone Rangi Yala Dumba Shida Chawa Shindu Simjen Tamje Gita Chigi Yue Nyambe Nebazu.
यसपछि तपाईहरुले
And
के
then
भावना
also
गर्नुपर्छ
consider
भने
that
तपाईले
besides you
म मात्र होइन कि
are
मेरो यो
on
जीवनको
your
बुवा
left and
यो
your right
जीवनको
are
आमा
your
लगायत
parents of
संसारका
this
सबै
life, and behind
प्राणीहरू
them are all
सबैजना मसँगै अनि
the
थान्तोङ ग्याल्पो गुरुको अगाडि
all the
सप्ताङ्ग
sentient
वन्दना
beings
गर्दैछ
that
भनेर
are
पनि
in
तपाईले
human
भावना
form
गर्नुपर्दछ
behind you. And then whenever you
Tine
do
Yala Dumba
the 7 branch prayer, consider that all of you are doing it all together.
Diwan Miguel Le Rangi Jiva Shen Jiva just Iran Shawara Soba Takanda Diwan Miguel Le Khan Jiva Teda Samjelaya Tu Kondu Soma Tabi Joseph Chabur Kone Shawasiadi.
यो सप्ताङ्ग वन्दनामा पहिलो अभ्यास चाहिँ के हो
And
भन्दाखेरि
so,
पाप देशना हो तपाईहरु
one of
अहिलेदेखि
the
भावना गर्नु है
important practices
हामीहरुले
in the 7 branches is the
अनादिकालदेखि
confession,
अहिलेसम्म जानेर
and
होस्
then
नजानेर होस् लाज बचाएर
you should
होस्
think
होस
about
बचेर
all the
होस् होसमा
negative
नभएर होस्
actions that you have
हामीले
done,
शरीर वचनद्वारा
all
धेरै पाप
the
गरिसकेका
wrongdoings,
छौँ र अरूहरूले
non-virtuous
गरेको
actions
पापमा पनि
with
खुसी
your body,
जताएका
speech,
छौँ
and mind.
त्यसरी आफू र
And
अरूले
so,
गरेका
what
पापमा
is
खुसी
really
भएको
important
जति
is
पनि
that you
अकुशल
confess,
कर्महरू छ
that
नि
you
त्यो अकुशल कर्महरू म
bring them to mind
पश्चाताप गरेर
and take
त्यो
the promise
त्याग्छु
to
मैले पश्चाताप
purify
गरेको छु
them
म
and not
छोड्छु
to
भन्ने
repeat
भावना
them
गरेर
anymore.
चाहिँ तपाईले पहिलो वन्दना पाप देशना चाहिँ गर्नुपर्दछ
Nibadi Gawal Jesuira, Sangeta Sanjisamba Nendo Dara Sangelo Soba, Parve Kons Shubananda, and Sose Geo Rani the Jebe Kanda Gele Kanda Kanji, but Tamjela Jesuiran chair.
दोस्रो अभ्यास चाहिँ तपाईँ के
And
भन्दा
then the next branch
अनुमोदना
is the
तपाईहरु
one of
अहिलेदेखि भावना गर्नुहोस्
rejoicing.
र भावना गर्नुहोस्
And
त
so you should
जति पनि
rejoice in
आर्य
all
संसारबाट
the
तरेका
positive
बुद्ध
actions,
बोधिसत्वहरू
all
आर्य
the
अरहतहरू
merits that
छन्
has been
तपाईहरुले
accumulated by
गरेको
body,
पुण्य
speech,
कति
and
राम्रो
mind by
भन्ने भावना
yourself
गर्नुहोस्
and all
र
other sentient
सांसारिक
beings,
व्यक्ति
all
म
Buddhas
लगायत
and
संसारका
Bodhisattvas
जति
and
पनि
all
छलका
sublime
प्राणीहरू
beings as
जसले
well.
जस्तो तरिकाले
And so
पुण्य कर्म गरेका
this
छन् ओहो
branch
कस्तो
consists
राम्रो
of
गर्यो भनेर चाहिँ
rejoicing
त्यो
in
भावना
all
गर्नुहोस्
the
त यसलाई
merits,
दोस्रो
all
अभ्यास
the
अनुमोदना
positive
भनिन्छ
actions.
In the Sumbati, Tandam Chanju Gisem Sumasa, Chanju Gisem, Kunzu Chanju Gisem, da Tandam Chanju Gisem, New Imber, Tandam Chanju Gisem said the Kales and the Chutamji Neru Momate, Tombani, Jebeta Tamjeta Chawa, Jebeta Tamjeta Chawa, De Imber, De in a gorbet of Gi or Mato, Chorek on the Gia, the Yamari, the Inna, Cap Delia. Tamjasize, Sangeta Sanjusaman, Samatomani, turn to Yambrashane, Tito, going to Zeba Nanshi, Tagi Jang, do dinner to the canton, Samatomani, turn, thought to a chigi in some Tamja Delia, and the Tandam Chanju Gisam Sung and Yala Sung.
तेस्रो सप्ताङ्ग वन्दनाको
The
तेस्रो
next
अभ्यास
one
भनेको
is the
तपाईको
ultimate
परमार्थ बोधिचित्तको अभ्यास हो
bodhicitta.
यो
And
बोधिचित्त
so
दुई
bodhicitta,
किसिमको
in
हुन्छ
general
समृद्धि
speaking,
बोधिचित्त
has
र
two
परमार्थ
aspects, the
बोधिचित्त
relative
यहाँ
bodhicitta
अहिले
and
गर्न
then the
लागेको
ultimate
अभ्यास चाहिँ
bodhicitta.
परमार्थ बोधिचित्त हो
And so
र
this one
परमार्थ बोधिचित्तको
right
अर्थ
now
के हो
is the
भन्दा
ultimate
सारा
bodhicitta, which
धर्महरूको
consists in
वास्तविकता
the
सारा धर्महरूको
realization
स्वभाव वास्तविक
of
के हो
the
भन्दा चाहिँ शून्य हो
true
शून्यता
nature
हो है त्यो
of
शून्यता हो त्यो
emptiness.
शून्य
And so
त्यो
this is
शून्यतालाई
the
बुझ्ने
nature
चित्त चाहिँ
of all
परमार्थ बोधिचित्त
phenomena
हो
that
त्यो
is
जुन अहिले
beyond
हामीले
any
प्रार्थना
conceptual
गर्दैमा
characteristics or
सबै
beyond
धर्महरूको
any
स्वभाव
any expression, and of course this cannot be given rise to just by rituals or just by repeating something, but you have to meditate and develop it in this way, and yet we think that we and yet in this branch we take the promise that we are going to develop it just in the same way that Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the past have done it. The next one is refuge, and so it is to consider the Buddha as the guide of the path that leads to enlightenment, the Dharma as the path itself, and then the Sangha as the companions on the path, and so to take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha.
군수 전주 있으면 군수 전주 있으라야 멤버섬 다 주베섬 니열 멤버섬 세드 칸데르잖아 심전 탐지기 돈도 상기 공만 탐도 짐바로 냐베 dim바데 아니 멤버섬이 말 대인의 우케버진 기도 담자 제제 내 상기 공만 심전 탐지기 돈도 저버 상기 공만 지리자 터버 세기 인스면 담자 제버텔이야 아니 멤버 And then
the next one is the branch of the bodhicitta in aspiration. So the relative bodhicitta has two aspects, the aspect of intention and the aspect of application. And this one is the one in intention. And so it is the intention that I will do whatever it takes and use every capacity of mind in order to reach full enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings. And so this wish is the bodhicitta in intention, and so that is what we should develop during this branch.
Teyine yu kebarjin gidun tamja cheche dange deve sangyada maungbe sangyada tadar sangyada mi chidar jugwas chanju shodu tu keba nanshin ngagi jan chigi yinsa tamja chebe deriya jugwasim kebe yala.
So to take the promise to develop this enlightened mind in front of the specific and very special object of refuge is this branch, and the next branch is bodhicitta in application. In action, and so this is once you have developed bodhicitta in intention, then you start doing the actual practice, developing the 6 parameters for your own good, and then using the 4 means of gathering sentient beings for the welfare of others. And so in short, we engage ourselves into applying and doing all the ocean-like infinite amount of activities of the bodhisattvas for the welfare of all sentient beings, and we make the promise that we're going to do that in front of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And then once we have accomplished all these branches and all these practices for the welfare of all sentient beings, an extremely large amount of merits are derived from this. And so we dedicate all these merits that we have accumulated in this way for the benefit of all sentient beings so that they can reach full enlightenment, and that is the branch of dedication. And so while thinking about the meaning of these 7 branches, please repeat the verses of the 7 branches. I take refuge in the true jewels. I confess of my wrongdoings and non-virtuous actions. I rejoice in the virtues of beings. And I maintain the mind of awakening to Buddhahood. I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly until I reach enlightenment. To fully accomplish the benefit of myself and others, I will arise the heart of the awakening. Having arised the supreme heart of awakening, I will honor all beings as my guests and uphold the supreme awakened conduct pleasing to all. For the benefit of beings, I will accomplish Buddhahood.
Sanje chodan sojola chanju badu kyapsuje rangshen tenne rabruchir chanju semni kyabaji chanju choge semni kegene simjan thamje dargu dondungyer chanju jojo yon jabarji chola penji sangye drubarcho Kunjo Sumra Dajibchi, Digwa Thamje Susursha, Joy Gala Jera, Sanje Chanju Igisung, Sanje Chodan Sojola, Chanju Badu Kapsuche, Ranshen Tene Rabduchir, Chanju Semni Kabarji, Chanju Chogi Semni Kekene, Simjan Thamje Darga Dundungyar, Chanju Josho Yon Jabarji, Chola Pinju Sangyan Drubarsho. Otadigi Yeladu Matarsum Shabati Bekesham Bere Kainsana, Dida Japsu Joala Tene, and the Jamdru Tombai Tabguore, Chanju showed the same Jabala Tene, Chanju Sembi Tombai Tabguore. And then our top Simba Yaje Yan Konda Pedro. And the young art Tom the Yamja Chung ya la so Cheva Imber, just under the Yana de Matarsum Shiad, vacation.
And so repeating the 7 branch prayer 3 times is extremely important, because when we recite the branch of refuge, then we are actually receiving the vows of refuge. And then when we repeat the branch of the bodhicitta, the branches of bodhicitta, then we're receiving the vows of bodhicitta. And so if we are someone who didn't receive these vows before, then we received it for the first time, and then if we did have received them before, then we improve upon them. And then if we had done any breach to these vows, then we repair them in this way.
In the Robin Troy Gabo, Tending Kursane, then the Troy Sobat Mabatone, get on Parjetam Gigaran to Tesson Sambe Mavation.
And so in the next part of the empowerment, then we need to dispel all the obstacles for the empowerment. And so consider that the Guru is going to appear in the form of the rightful King Hayagriva, and then he is emitting a lot of flames, and he's going to dispel and to get rid of all the obstacle makers, and then to make them go very far away.
yunsumna dingzu dungdung jushan namba shabja ruji ji tanan zamba mengo kamre tasham ruji jamba ishi baji she geji jamba ishi ki mewe mbare longji du shubu kujen du sarwe lam kusundu ki netan parpi puga tamje na randan zhawe cho ku shewa rirab zam chungwa durenzo yangchu durenzo sashi panda nangai chuan tamji kengpa zamdu chungde kyaran namla wang kurwata chime tse ngudu sama tobar cheba la pardu chobar chebi denge lobar jembe cho tamji kechigi tae jazu parurdu chebe me baldu Dene otam je doji soji lotam je doji rawata chawa ten tam je doji kurdara re shiro tam je ishiki mewe ratum ba sume koloro kyoro ombenzera jara je ombezo ombenzera jara je ombezo ombenzera jara je ombezo shechebe tenbar chebe me ba je tene tawang ngushile tajin shube nanshin jingo zode 주신 Thangtong Gyalpo re ene Thangtong Gyalpo kundo mungna sijing barwa ujata mima mara azon se kyugewa lo gyalun be nganzu je nyamsha katana shimi tsei pumba pasum shingi kajen da jeba parje sungu che tu tangwe tsemba namba regar ki nasa chima meba soa rida je pakwe dhyana shubha tenje ji shata
And so now for the main empowerment, we should visualize in front of you, in the middle of the mandala, that there is Tangtong Gyalpo, the Lord of all the accomplished ones, and his body has a dark brown color, blazing with splendor. His hair, eyebrows, mustache, and beard shoots out golden flashes of light. He has the appearance of a 100 years old person. With his two hands in the meditation posture, he's holding a long life vase that is undifferentiated from the empowerment Toma. And its mouth is marked by the heads of Hayagriva.
Tangtong
Gyalpo wears immaculate white colored clothes, robes, and is sitting in full lotus posture on a seat made of an antelope skin. On top of his head, there is a Buddha of limitless light, red and brilliant, with the Nirmanakaya attributes, holding a long life vase with his two hands in the meditation posture.
Then the began to patrol change, jam person sober, you think tendency.
In Tangtong Gyalpo's throat center, there is Hayagriva, red and brilliant, who is brandishing a lotus mark staff on his right hand and holding a kapala filled with blood with the left one in front of his heart. Wearing the 8 channel grounds attributes, he stands with his right foot slightly bent and the left one stretched.
Tugalaya Guru Mujikundo Kamar Dojita Teba Pyoga Sugar Sao repair the Nishu Soa and then Chaya Dojita Yun Teba can Tibum Teba Naria Tibum Yoba in the Tarda Rinpoche Genji Gamba Tendeji Sadar.
र थान्तोङ ग्याल्पोको
In
छातीमा
Tangtong
चाहिँ
Gyalpo's
गुरुको
hand,
चाहिँ
there
बस्नु
is the
भएको छ
great
र उहाँ
lotus-born
पनि
Guru
वज्रासनमा
Padmasambhava
बस्नुभएको सम्झन्छ
with a
र उहाँले
pinkish-white
गृहस्थीको चाहिँ आवरण
complexion,
गृहस्थीको पहिरन
holding Vajra
वस्त्र
and
लगाउनु
Kapala.
भएको
So
छ
in his
उहाँको दाहिने
hands
हातमा
he
वज्र
holds the
छ भने
Vajra and
देब्रे
Kapala,
हातमा
and
चाहिँ
within the
देब्रे
Kapala
हात
there's
उहाँको
the
काखमा
long
छ र
life
देब्रे
vase.
हातमा उहाँको
He wears
कलश
a
छ
gown,
र
a
त्यो कलश
monastic
लिनुभएको छ
shawl, a
त्यसो
brocade
गर्नुहोस्
cloth, and a lotus
근데
hat, and he's
내가
sitting in the
타고도
adamantine posture.
자와 숨으신 지럽기 자와 라마 무주기 자와 이담 칠레기 자와 칸루 추경 근데 이제 상계도 선주선바 삼지 미켜봐 고라 근데 지사다
र यसरी भावना गर्नुहोस्
And
र
then all
थान्तोङ
around
ग्याल्पोको
them, like
वरिपरि को
great heap
हुनुहुन्छ
of clouds,
भन्दाखेरि
there are
चाहिँ
all
सम्पूर्ण
the
अधिष्ठान या
deities of
आशीर्वादको
the
स्रोत आशीर्वादको
sublime
मूल
beings
चाहिँ
of the tree
गुरु
roots. And so
अनि
the
सबै सिद्धिहरूको स्रोत
root of
चाहिँ
the
इष्टदेव
blessings, the
इदम
lamas,
र
the root
सम्पूर्ण
of the
चर्याहरूको
accomplishments, the
स्रोत चाहिँ
yidam, and the
तपाईँको
root of the
दाका
activities, the
डाकिनीहरू यी
dakinis,
सबै
and the
वरिपरि
guardians of
छन्
the
र
dharma.
वरिपरि बुद्ध
And so
मूर्तिले
there are
वरिपरि
all
घेरिएको
around
हुनुहुन्छ
them,
र
they're all lamas,
धर्महरूले पनि
yidam,
घेरिएको छ
dakinis, dakas,
भनेर
and protectors
आकाशमा
and
लेखेको छ
guardians of the
भनेर
dharma,
सोध्नुहोस्
and all the vidyadharas who have the power
대답을
of life.
주도에는 라니 곰네 심에세 무주 슈에르도 소한데바 디젠도
यसरी थान्तोङ
And then
ग्याल्पो र
visualize
वरिपरि
yourselves in
लामा इदम
front of
खाण्डहरू
all
वरिपरि
of them
छन्
and
भन्ने
repeat
भावना
after me three
गरेर
times the
तपाईँले
following prayer
मसँग
in
यो
order to
प्रार्थना
request the
दोहोऱ्याउनुहोस्
accomplishment of the immortal life.
시시시 나와타의 죽은 제수종
Buddha Amita, by limitless life, you care for us, each and every one.
돌아 심에들
Lord Amita is boundless life, you grant
단지
us
완전
immortality.
조의 벌지세
All powerful Hayagriva, you eliminate every
빼만
obstacle
죽는
we
니들
face.
조의 접
Padmasambhava, you are our refuge in the
당도겸
darkest of time.
수다로하며
And Tangtong Gyalpo, you never fail to
소환되는
answer our
가정을
prayers. Now I pray to you, dispel everything and fervor every obstacle. Fill me, transform me with your blessing, grant me the city of immortal life.
나와타의 죽은 제수종 세바메고 돌아 심에들 단지 완전 조의 벌지세 빼만 죽는 니들 조의 접 당동겹을 쏟아로하며 소환돼서까지 맞춰서 징계로 시심행으로도 시시시 나와타의 죽은 제수종 세바메고 돌아 심에들 단지 완전 조의 벌지세 빼만 죽는 니들 조의 접 당동겹을 쏟아로하며 소환돼서까지 맞춰서 징결 없이 심행으로도 마마라니 지윈데 구르베마 꼴다 비니가나 아유시디 시시시 마마라니 지윈데 구르베마 꼴다 비니가나 아유시디 시시시 마마라니 지윈데 구르베마 꼴다 베니가나 아유시디 시시시 다티지 메소디 갸자레타 나 동자를 마샤바 대바이나 엔더 로자티바 테스 메소야 스웨디비 탄다 제드 셰마타바데레 다가나싱아 탄다 제드 셰마타바데레
तपाईँलाई
And
मैले
so
योभन्दा
I was
अगाडि
saying
अभिषेक
before that
अगाडि
if
एउटा
you
एउटा
recited
श्लोक
100
8
times
लाइन छ
the
त्यसलाई चाहिँ
main
दिनको
prayer
दिनौँ
and
सयचोटि
if you
पढ्ने
recited
र
1000
मन्त्र
times the
चाहिँ
main
1000 चोटि
mantra,
पढ्यो
there
भने
is
100
absolutely
वर्ष
no
बाँच्छ
doubt
भनेको
that
थिएँ
you
नि
will live
यो
up to
श्लोक
100
यही हो
years.
र
That was
मन्त्र पनि यही हो
said by the teacher. And so that is the prayer and the mantra that you have recited right now.
감사로 세지 된 거야도 요 말에 대이나 지 생년 중 선대도 된 투바이나 대표 마시브 펜션 보여래
अब तपाईँहरूले यो
And so there
आज
is
यो
no
अभिषेक
obligation
लिइसकेपछि
that you should
जबरजस्ती यो
absolutely
मन्त्र
recite
पढ्नुपर्छ
it
यो श्लोकहरू
without
जबरजस्ती पढ्नुपर्छ
interruption.
भनेर प्रतिज्ञा गर्ने त्यस्तो
But
प्रणहरू केही
if
गर्नु
those
पर्दैन
who
जति सक्छ
know
तपाईँहरूले
and
आफ्नो
wish to do
तर्फबाट
that,
गर्यो
do
भने
so,
राम्रो हो
then there will
तर
be extremely
तपाईँ
vast
बाँचुन्जेल यो
benefits.
श्लोकहरू पढ्यो भने धेरै फाइदा छ यसको
ene kwenye yu jumze kanyi silaba ina nga samalo tseringbu goya samlo tangi yore tseringbu yunga tundar melam jagu yore shabden jugu yore tsewan shugu yore zameda chigu yore di ina tseringbu goya na tsiba mero sowata gore di indu kumbu tsiba mego sondi yu di ina la yore
And so the reason why it is there, it has so many blessings is that we wish to have a long life. We do many different things to have a long life. We received long life empowerments. We have practices made on our behalf for that purpose. We do many things, and yet if we want a long life, then we should pray to Amitayus, and then he is included in this prayer. And then also in our life, we wish to avoid all obstacles and problems, etc. And so we make wishes, we make we would like very much that this happens. And then in order to dispel obstacles, there's no deity better and more powerful than Hayagriva. And then Hayagriva is also included in this prayer.
Nubalaya Jobuki Chabara Mariti Inaya Maranzo Yan Lada Melam Gitava Yumeki Tone Chabashamba Tuguore. In the Maranzo Per Kanzembazore, Takana Himalaya Riju Mizure, Guru Michelia, Tumo Mayimbe, the Lada Melam Gitava Yoimbere. Per Sangi Gitamba Toma Taya, Guru Mizikatin Tene Tarare. In Pardu Gun Rimboya, Long Jada Mambiria, Sanji Temba, Tarsin Java Yonatia, Guru Mizikatina and the Chumbare. In the Tanda, the Tuga Nianjans and Ninjas Gabla Yinaya, in the Sange Shenle, Tuji Harvard Neuro, Guru Mizimba, the Dutan, Guru Mizundivja, Dina Yorder.
And so if we think about the ability of all Buddhas to fulfill our wishes and to unfold their activities, they do not have any difference in terms of one is faster than the other. And yet, because of our own previous karma links and our own prayers and aspirations done in the past, then there is a difference in how fast and how effective praying to one Buddha is over to the other in order to see results. And so we as people from either from Tibet or from the Himalaya region have a specific link and a specific connection with Guru Rinpoche. First, because he was the very first teacher who came to Tibet to establish Buddhism in the first place. And after that, the very fact that Buddhism remained in Tibet for hundreds of years is solely thanks to his kindness. And then the fact that today it is still present and still completely alive and that we are able to practice it is still solely due to his blessings. And so making prayers to him and addressing our wishes to him ensures that they are answered as fast as possible. And then the main master of this empowerment is Tangtong Gyalpo, who is a mahasiddha coming from Tibet itself. Not only that, but he is also a non-sectarian Tibetan master who practiced and transmitted all the different traditions without any limitation, and he is revered by all. He's revered by all the Tibetan traditions, and his prayer is also there. And then at the end of our life, there is a moment when we will need to die. And so when we die, we usually all make prayers in order to be reborn in Sukhavati, the Buddha field of Amitabha. And so in order to be reborn in the Amitabha's field, then we need to make prayers to him and to acquire to make prayers to him, and so this prayer is also included here. And so it is for that reason that after you have received these empowerments, if you are able to recite this prayer on a daily basis, it would be extremely beneficial. Of course, I'm not saying that you need to do that absolutely and that otherwise it will not be good, but do not take it in this way, but it will be extremely beneficial for yourself, either in this life or the next or in between lives. In all situations, it will be beneficial for you to receive blessings, to dispel obstacles, to have a long life, and etc. And so it would be really good if you were able to recite it.
Tangtong Gyalpo, Gombo Tsepame, Gombo Bame, Tadak Shingam Sosone, and Tuji Shinatam, Katong and Shime Diziland, Kawa Puyutu, but I was shown, and the Karanam Jichu, Parvipuga, Wambo Kondam, the Mato Tamala, Kawa Papa, Gandu Shimbola, Charpa was in the Sip Timne.
And so now please consider that you make prayers and then you entreat the activities of Amitayus, of Tangtong Gyalpo, of Guru Rinpoche, of Hayagriva, and of Amitabha, and then all the blessings are emitted by them in forms of their own specific forms, and then they dissolve into you just as a storm, a snowstorm, or a rainfall that falls into a lake and creates a great ocean. Think that all their blessings dissolve into you in this way. And then think that after having received this nectar within you, that everything negative is purified from you.
제 구배에도 로병이 두가 친구를 하면 망벌줘네 저라는 길라서 냠바다 야와도 나서고 탐주 꾸네 니게 체된다 주제남으로 팀베 팀에 체 무주 말로 톱주 냠베 매바죠.
And then now, in order to gather the long life and longevity, consider that from the heart of the guru in front, deities that the hook longevity are emitted in great number, and then they go all around the universe and then gather back any vital force and long life that had been stolen, taken away, scattered, and degenerated by the eight, by spirits and other beings, and that they all gather back into you. And now, in order to gather back all that longevity, please consider that from the heart of the mahasiddha, the red lights are emitted in forms of hooks, and then these hooks fill the entirety of Bidil for universe, like magnet attracting iron powder, the summon from everywhere, all the long life and vital force that has been stolen, taken away, scattered, and degenerated by the 8 negative classes, as well as the life force that has been forcefully taken through the mantras, substances, the concentration of powerful Buddhist and non-Buddhist practitioners, all of it dissolves and falling into the long vials in the hand of the mahasiddha. And likewise, the light rays extend to everywhere. The 4 elements exist, and all the essence of the earth element, firmness and solidness, found in Mount Meru, 7 golden mountains, the 4 main continents and the 8 subcontinents, and the rings of irons and mountains, all the essence of the water and the 4 elements are gathered. And likewise, it gathers knowledge, love, powers, and majesty of all sentient beings in general, and specifically the wise panditas, the powerful kings, and the mighty Vidyadharas in the form of moist, immortal nectar, emitting 5-colored rays of light. And similarly, these rays of light in form of hooks, they gather all the qualities of the root and lineage masters, of all the masters and deities and protectors, all the qualities, and then they dissolve into the vase. And then consider that this nectar that is thus filled inside the long life vase of Tangtong Gyalpo, with them being wasted or spilled elsewhere, the entirety of the nectar enter, yes, the main deities also, so the vase overflows, and then consider that this overflowing nectar enters you by the entrance of crowns of your head. It fills your bodies and reaches even your thinnest channels. Thus consider you become the proto infinite life and wisdom, who is permanent, stable, indestructible, and endowed with immortal long life and unfailing health. Next, consider with full confidence that being offered in your right hand the substances of method endowed with the nature of quintessence of immortal longevity, you obtain the method of great bliss, the accomplishment of the supreme, immutable Vajra longevity. Next, consider with full confidence that being offered in your left hand the substance of wisdom, the wisdom of emptiness, you obtain the accomplishment of Vajra longevity that nothing can disrupt. In order to stabilize the accomplishment and blessing, consider that the assembled deities and retinues visualized in front of you, together with the greater and lesser Vidyadharas with power all over longevity, utter words of auspiciousness and crown you and stabilize the blessings and accomplishments by showering upon you Mandala of flowers.
Jibetab Gitane Tawajur, Jibatas in San Turundok Sangayanda, Me Sanga Turundok de Niji Ronjuvanaj, Turundok Gitane Tawajur, Turundok San some Sebet of Gisangayanda, Me Sanga some Sebet of the Niji Ronjuvan, Sebet of Gitane Tawajur, Sebatas in San Tulitop Gisangay Laba, Me Sanga Tulitop, Niji Ronjuvana, Tulitop Gitane Tawajur, Tulitop Gisangay, some dent of Gisangay and Laba, Me Sanga, some dent of the Niji Ronju, some dent of Gitane Tawajur, some dent of Gisangay, Sherato Gisangay and Laba, Me Sanga, Sherato de Niji Ronjuvan. Sherato Gitane Tawajur, Sherato Gisangay, Geri Tonra Jishua, Midine Vekana Tawada, Devatu Pusu, Taji Tiganda, the Derecho, Loja Soshi, Takatawada, Serene, the Gipus, Timachola, Neverjuani, Tashi Tiganda, the Derecho, Sonario, the Tempat, Junin, Nation, the Sawada, Yandra, Nagata, Chava, Tashi Tiganda, Paramin, Ranger, Kosim, Jusashi, the Chasan, Sharu, Jimmy. Jila Chebe Dashi, Jila Chebe Dashi, Jila Chebe Dashi, Nimandara. That is the Chudi Chawang but true here. And that me was on shot into Chicago Journal singing Mamudu into Jane, Dodge Purbeck on the ending Kago Jitungi, somewhere Melamia put up.
यसरी आज आयु अभिषेक
And
सकिसकेको
so
छ
with this I have
मलाई धेरै
completed
मान्छेहरूले कागो पनि दिनुहोस्
the
दिनुहोस्
Dharma
भनेर
connection
प्रार्थना
through
गर्नुहुन्छ
this
त्यसकारण
long life
तपाईहरू
empowerment.
सबैजनालाई सँगै राखेर
And
म
now
अहिले
since
कागो
there is a lot
दिँदैछु
of people
तपाईहरु
who ask
राम्रोसित
me for
श्रद्धाका साथ
the protection
सुन्नुहोस्
prior to Vajrakilaya, then I'm going to do this. Please make good prayers.
Om Yaho Bhagav Vyaraja Om Vajrakilaya Sao Minimena Om Vedita Zarana No Benjakorda Ungara Ungazakata Mazakorda Bija Mazakorda Jarada Dam Yamedaka Mazakorda Mazakorda Ayarzala Mazakorda Ayango Hulu Mazakorda Parazita Tira Mazakorda Midakunda Sada Mazakorda Teloja Bija Mazakorda Mabala Pora Bazaya Kinunza Bazabera Bazara Mida Bazamara New Jo Maramia Makara Rubanisala Yami Sozala Yami Nila Titi Sola Chita Sola Tum Ready Nura Sola Shini Uru Shishi Kukundana Sozo Tartma Mishiri Karaka Makara Marasana Parmadani de Yanda Vazo Sanki Shuku Kundu Samalungu Dojisimba Chuku Pamachune Kolowan Soma Kondozira Jukashara Yende Kansuri Jabu Konto Dojira Kankejo Kankiatan Grand Babu Krishya Dorokolo Jara Doroko Jabu Konsaja Buchibukungu Kolovar Machisana Zuma Kanchi Zira Machitamajan the Kanchi Jisaki Belinda Kondo Komisiya Koba never for him, what the Jalosa or Sunday Kandama Kusi Kamari, the Shiramata Mazanajan. Lajin Kuwajas, the Tishi Yavang, what is Jan, Nakajas, Tashi Jagar, Shurajas, Jan was Najan Gagom, what is Jasona, Naja, Tawala to Jango, Sona, Najan Kuwatashi, Jasona, Sashi Kuwata to Joan, Bama to do. No, what is the teacher? The shilling is the water is the Rita Jingurjas, the chapter calling of Sakya, which among Maturi, Yavjitoji, Chimong, Kugas, the Rashi, the Vegans, the Vasa, Bukati, Suma, Majivision, and the Tazaka, Ramatamba. Mejobi channel, the Tukji, the Bakans, Shiki, Javarita, Jingujas, the Chapter Kenja Tamji Kamatoshi Shangawan to Champagne, Botashi Ravicans and Boss, Katin Sumba Majivishan and the Kongi Jasov, Chevron Dorjis and Machamangawan to Tenzin, Rikuja the Kenja Tamji Kamatoshi, Chamba Samba Weekends, Toshi, Sugar Lord, Jera Matoshi Shangawan, Lord, and Jabka Tijan Toshi Shangawan, Carol Reshikas. Tracy traffic and the bus and Bukatin Suma Majivishan and the Jibardushim Bizawa and Jibarjiv. But there are Mataman the Sangachitangi, the children. Then soon Tamjin got to the Kotanjiv and the Gisatan and Batinam, Tangton, Satan, Jugorki Nerva, or the Satan in Nerva, Partin, which has in Nerva Sudan. Lundi Pegati was over to Genial, someone to Joros of Netam. Logeta Shakal Sobakang, the Chestions wanted to Shilos of a singing dirita. Better Bodoros of a singing never subject a tossal side was Jombe never the Paroji Mazo, Tasa Shungush on a Gajin Barjim meeting, which out of Juniors. King and said also number the Java Kordan, the Shamni, Sanjuki, some of Davaya Jungoda Kone Conservation Gata Sambitan Jisutan Ishenda Rivichula Tondo Jasumazin Tita to Sumata Java the Baut Go Chula Manzato Zo Javasiji the Mission of the Project Position Roatin and Darasons and Kitino Sukan of Maji Jumba the Raja Rajum Umbaza Raja Rajum Bizumba the Raja Rajum Security on Rajas Shua the Midin Never The Vajrakilaya business of a Tashi together the television Mao Shi now the Jogunjus. Seven make a drawing at the 31 January purchase the Pamajum in Nitu Director Thangton Gyalpo Amaran Jim the Kuribama got the Vinegana Shetiri Roger Sushi Negaton the second with the Jubis the Vajrakilaya. Miller mental legend of course the Medusa the Chasa Jim Jira Chebe Dashi Show. Or that thing Shedrick in Basimbaye, and the child Samalo, Kale Shimbachep in the Mixe Yongward, and the Yongwad turned out them as Shikwa, Kashimber, one Saji, the Benga, Soseki, Lama Choedak, one Saji Tobe, Haleaske, Yomare, and the Kachu, the Namsha Gundune, and then Samalo, Simki Sambusiata. The Diwapaya, Gawatrivia, Samba Sampuchia, that is the vacation where you marry.
And so until now, with this I have completed the parts of the Dharma connection that I have been requested to do right now. And so at the same time, the most important is not to have received once the empowerment and blessings from a Lama such as me. His Holiness is being humble, saying that he is an ordinary sentient being. And, but the most important is that from now on a daily basis, then you engage into, you make sure that you engage into virtuous actions, that you avoid negative actions. And then it is extremely important for all of you to also to do things that correspond to the samayas that you have taken.
Pena Gindaba Chigi, Tombatam de Yapusung, Lavalomia Yapuche, Joram Yapucheva Ina, Tamba Chigi, Sala Gunde Yoga, Yan Tabachigi, Ben Joram Tuja Sheva Ina, Sosorani, and Yeva Joatam de Masebe, Tamba Chigi, Sentient Yangayor, so that didn't do Tande, Tugabdi, Keda Nika, Keda Nika Simbuji to do in the Yindibacho Tamara, Tuta Nabakin, Joramri, Lomiana, Conjitori, Sasa Nangua, the Pecation would do.
And so you all hear monks and nuns in the audience. It is extremely important that you make a lot of attention to whatever you do, because usually when we talk about samayas and then the vows that we have taken, it is something to be benefited by oneself. But in this day and time, if one person, one monk or one nun practices well, studies well, and then conducts himself or herself well, then it will have an effect on the whole community, and then at a large scale. And then if that one monk or nun does something bad, it will also have a very bad effect on time.
Mama Kanje Tade, Lula to Sima Kaja Tade, Lela to somebody. So that the on the mail said, social ra level, so that the Yabu Gurna, and the Diva Miguel Le Bangayata, Gevele come to the Dua Tindegi, Divon Gidu Yoyade, and the Samba Sambo Rade girl, 지단 뒤균들 삼방년 봤어야지 총자 부신 순절 짠解决 말이 가지고 있는 심규 상부 제압 있는 니기 자와 되는 수용구를
अब यहाँ आउने
And so the
धर्मप्रेमी
times that we live in today
उपासक उपासिकाहरू तपाईँहरूलाई
can
के भन्न
be
चाहन्छु
extremely
भन्दाखेरि
beneficial,
तपाईँहरू
extremely
सबैजना
fast,
यो जीवनमा
and
सुख
can be
चाहनुहुन्छ
extremely
भविष्यमा पनि राम्रो होस्
negative,
भनेर
extremely fast as
त्यस्तो त
well.
चाहनुहुन्छ नि
And
हैन यो
then,
जीवनमा नि सुख
generally
भविष्यमा
speaking,
नि सुख
everyone
तर
wants
यो
to be
जीवनमा
happy and
सुख
wants
पाउने
to avoid
भविष्यमा सुख
suffering.
पाउने
Everyone
भनेको
wants to
आफ्नै
wants and
कर्मद्वारा
wishes
पाउने हो
for
कसैले
having
आएर
something
दिने
good
होइन
in his or her
तपाईले पहिला
life.
जन्ममा पुण्य
And
गरेको पाप
so
कर्म
this
गर्यो
all
अहिलेको
depends
जीवनलाई
on
हेरेर
what
अहिलेको
we do
शरीरलाई
right
हेरेर
now in the
भविष्यमा
good
तपाईँ
heart
कहाँ
that we
जाने
are
हो
able
तपाईले बाँचुन्जेल
to
अहिलेसम्म
develop
गरेको पुण्य कर्म के
in our
गर्यो मनलाई
minds.
हेरेर
And so
है
it is
त्यस
just
कारण
like it
अहिले
said, if you
तपाईले
wish
सुख
to know
भइरहेछ
what you
दुःख
have
भइरहेछ
done
पहिला
in
जन्मको
your
कर्म
past life, look
भविष्यमा
at your
सुख गर्ने
present
दुःख भने
situation.
अहिले तपाईँको
If you
मनमा
wish to
आएको
know what
पुण्य
you will
कर्म
be
पाप
in
कर्म
your
के छ
future
त्यसलाई
life, look at your
हेर्नुपर्दछ
present
त्यसकारण
actions.
हामी
And so
सबैजना सुख चाहन्छौँ नि त त्यसकारण कर्मफललाई
what we will
नकार्न
become
मिल्दैन
and
राम्रो कर्म
what
गर्नुहोस्
experience we will
मुख्यतया
have
आफ्नो
in our
मनलाई सफा
in the
गर्नुहोस्
future
जति जति
solely
तपाईँले
depends
आफ्नो
on
मनलाई
our
सफा गर्नुहुन्छ
present
त्यति त्यति तपाईँको
actions and
जन्म
the karma
यो
that we
जीवन
are
पनि
accumulating
भविष्य
right
राम्रो हुन्छ
now.
त्यसकारण
And
मनलाई
so
जतिखेर पनि राम्रो
because of
राख्नलाई
that,
कोसिस गर्नुहोस्
we
यसले नै
should
तपाईँलाई
avoid to,
सुख दिन्छ
and
हित
the
गर्छ
basis of all positive actions start with good heart, and so we should avoid bad heart, even starting from towards an insect.
rangi didugi la ten samlotanse tu yundu simki sambu siata diwa payata gawa tuya le ya in sabsab chekwa pekeshamble
त्यसकारण आफ्नो मनलाई राम्रो गर
And
छोटकरीमा के हो भने अभ्यास चाहिँ आफ्नो मनलाई राम्रो गर तपाईले
it's
गरेको
really
कुशल
important that we
कर्मको फल
develop
तपाईले नै
a kind
पाउने
heart
हो
and
तपाईले
then
गरेको अकुशल कर्म
a
त्यो
good
फल
heart,
पनि
as
तपाईले
this
नै
will
पाउने अरु कसैले
start
पाउँदैन
unfolding
त्यसकारण
every
सकेसम्म
the virtue
जतिखेर
and
पनि
positive thing for us in
भविष्यमा
the
सुख
future. And
पाउनलाई
so
यो जीवनमा सुख पाउनु छ भने
we
आफ्नो
should
मनलाई सफा
also
गर्नुहोस्
strive in
आफ्नो मनलाई
order
सफा गर्नुहोस् होसमा राख्नुहोस् मैले पुण्य कर्म गर्दैछु कि पाप कर्म गर्दैछु बारम्बार होस राख्नुहोस्
to develop good actions and avoid negative actions.
다른 여자 미르게 나려야 단다 파고네 덴베 긴누만 남기 점리 시디체도 이 시외 검저 나제 엔데라야 점블링 미만 참아로게 초다 리스마제 참아로게 베시라 가메다 베냐다 초르도 캡제 나우서 남바 참아로게 가소르지 뽑았게 고야지 텐데기 베페 마시바 단내주 야고지 총송
अहिले हाम्रो यो पृथ्वीमा
And
चाहिँ के भएको छ
so
भन्दाखेरि
also
हालसाल
something
यो थेरवादी
very positive that has
भन्थेहरूले
happened
चाहिँ
recently is
अमेरिकामा
that
उहाँहरू हिँड्नु
there's
भयो नि
this
कति दिन हिँड्नु भयो
group of
शान्तिको लागि
Theravada
भनेर
monks in the
उहाँहरूले
United States
बाटोमा
that
हिँड्नु भयो खाली खुट्टा
did
हिँड्नु
this
भयो त्यसरी
walk
हिँड्नु भयो
for
नि त्यसले
world
पनि
peace.
धेरै
And so
मान्छेहरूमा
it is
चाहिँ
something
ओहो
that is
भिक्षुहरूले यसरी
extremely
शान्तिको लागि
positive.
यसरी
Everyone in the world
दुष्कर्म
followed
यसरी
it and
यसरी एकदम
everyone
गाह्रो कर्म
appreciated
गरेर
it.
चाहिँ भनौँ न एकदम
And so this
पीडादायी
is
कर्म गरेर
us,
चाहिँ
for
सबै
all
प्राणीहरूलाई
of
चाहिँ
us Buddhist
शान्तिको चाहिँ एउटा
practitioners,
सन्देश
it's
दिँदैछ
something that
यिनीहरूले भनेर सबैजनाले
rises our
स्वीकारे खुसी भए उत्साह जनाए
our confidence in
कर्म
the
थेरवादी
path we have
भिक्षुहरूले हिँडेको कर्मले
entered
गर्दा
in,
पनि हाम्रो बुद्ध
that we are
धर्मलाई
following.
धेरै राम्रो टेवा पुगेको छ राम्रो भएको छ सबैले आत्मसात गरेको छ
진짜기 제바 상부들이 양가한 중고인데 갑조시하다 예수 이란 시아버지나 소소라야 엔소단 전부터 그래
र यस्तो
And so
राम्रो
if
कर्मलाई हामीहरूले
we
कति राम्रो कर्म गरेछ है
rejoice
भनेर
in
अनुमोदना गर्न सक्यो
such
भने
activities
अनुमोदना
and things
त्यस्तो
so
खुसी हुन
positive
सक्यो,
that
एकदम
are
राम्रो
being done,
खुसी
and
हुन
if
सक्यो
we
भने त्यो कर्महरू
back
हामीले
that
पनि
up
प्राप्त
as
गर्छौँ।
much as we can, then we also are going to receive virtue.
중에 채와지 사회 개발세하러 농주 개발세하러 매발세하러 다 된대기배 중에 내제 망부 연구요래 라버트에는 망주 가서갈래야 망부 연구요 마세 가서가니라 단다 아메리카다 이란 발래야 망주 전부 상제 다디 전부링이 나야 망주 전부 지라야게 년가 전부도 세상들이 대다 탐제 밀란바 망주 탐제 랑마도 시네 심제 탐제 시든 대가 자주 빠르 야 롱수 저 투야 참에 앤드 메람 잔데 아베 미치기 메람 잡았다 미 망부 조직도 뒤네 메람 잡아니래야 뉴바 시중 개발 전부요래 세상들이 다당하라도 수루다로 뒤지 니가브레 참원냠도 좀제 유두자 참에 있는 동수 직직이 터네 메람 잡아니나 팽기를 세상들이 모두다 타다 뉴도 시네 미탐지기 둥에 르기 나서 샘기 둥에 타다 뉴르도 시시 근데 모두 거블라 젠데 심바튼 줘야 가수월 단족 루이토 림지 주인은 있는 것만 좀 상기에 두야다. 다가나지 다든지 둥강이 나는 수입되면 되게 돼 뉴도 둥강을 좋네. 근데 상말로 시든 되게 내가 자주 빠르야 론주 두야게. 근데 면함자디 계신분들
अहिले हाम्रो यो
And then also
पृथ्वीमा
these days we can see
महामारी
that
चलेको छ
there's a lot of natural
कति
catastrophes
ठाउँमा
that are
टाइफोनहरू
happening.
आएको छ
There's a
त्यो
lot of
फ्लडहरू
fires,
आएको
there's
छ
a lot
के
of
भन्छ भने
floodings, there's a
ल्यान्डस्लाइडहरू
lot
भएको छ
of
हैन
very
भुच्चाइहरू भएको छ
forceful
हावाहरू
winds,
हुरीहरू
and so
आएर
all
कति
that.
प्राणलाई
There's a lot
हानि
of
भएको छ
different
ज्वालामुखी फुटेको छ र यो
natural catastrophes
पञ्चतत्त्वहरू
that
पनि
are
बिग्रेर
happening,
पनि
and
धेरै
on
नै
top
अहिले
of that,
पृथ्वीमा धेरै
there
नै
is also a lot
प्राणीहरूलाई
of
हानि
wars that
भएको छ
have been
दुःख भएको छ
that
त्यसमाथि
are
पनि अहिले युद्ध भइरहेको छ
undergoing right
अमेरिका
now.
र इरान बीचको त्यो
Just
एउटा
recently,
नमिल्ने
yesterday
एउटा
or
अवस्थाले
something like that,
गर्दाखेरि यहाँ युद्धको
the
ठुलो
America has
एउटा
started a war
एकदम
against
डरलाग्दो अवस्था
Iran,
सृजना भएको छ है युएसए र
and so
इरान
there's a lot
र
of
त्यो बेलामा यो बेलामा चाहिँ
people
धेरै
who have lost
प्राणीहरूलाई
their
हानि
lives, and
भएको छ प्राणीहरूको
and this
आयुमा हानि
has the
भएको छ
potential
काममा
of
हानि भएको
becoming
छ
a
हैन
very
स्रोत
vast scale
आय स्रोतमा हानि भएको छ
war
यसले धेरै नै हानि गरेको
around
छ
the world. And
त्यसकारणले
so
यस्तो अवस्थामा चाहिँ
what we
हामीहरू
should do
सबैजनाले
is to
यी सबै
make
युद्धहरू
all our
र जति पनि
prayers so that
महामारी
this
छ
does
जति
not
पनि
happen, that
रोगहरू
everything
लागेर जति पनि शान्ति सबै शान्त
pacifies,
होस्
and
सबै
then
ठाउँमा राम्रो होस्
all the
भनेर
natural
प्रत्येक व्यक्तिले
catastrophes,
चाहिँ
and
प्रार्थना
that
गर्न
all
अति
the
नै जरुरी छ
war
तर एकजना
cease. And so
व्यक्तिले प्रार्थना
making
गरेको र
one
समूहमा
wish
बसेर
from
धेरै
a
मान्छेहरू
single person
भिडमा बसेर
has this much
प्रार्थना गरेको धेरै फरक
power.
पर्दछ
But if we
त्यसकारण
are
यहाँ आज
gathered
तपाईँ यो गुम्बामा आउनुहुँदा
and
धेरै
a lot of
धेरै
people
मान्छेहरू
together
हुनुहुन्छ
make
तपाईँहरू
prayers
सबैजनाले
and
चाहिँ
then
एकमुष्ट भएर
make
चाहिँ तपाईँले
wishes that
यो
this
अहिले जति
does not
चलिरहेको
happen,
युद्ध
that
छ
the
महामारी छ यो
power
चाँडै
of
हटोस्
the
सबैको
group
मनमा बोधिचित्त
prayers
जागोस्
is
सबैको मनमा राम्रो
much more
विचार
potent.
जागोस्
And so
युद्ध
because
गर्ने
we are
विचारहरू
all
हटोस् भन्ने
gathered
भावनाहरू गऱ्यो
here,
भने
a
यो
large
पुण्यले पनि धेरै
group
कुरालाई
of
फाइदा गर्न
persons, and then
सहायता
at this
गर्दछ
very
र अर्को
special
कुरा के हो भन्दाखेरि युद्ध
day
हुँदाखेरि कति
and
प्राणीहरू
very
मरे
special
ती मरेका प्राणीहरू
occasion
अर्को जन्म उनीहरूले
of
18 क्षणसम्म निरुक्त भएको मानव चोला पाउन सकोस्
the day of
उनीहरूले मनुष्य चोला
during the
पाओस्
month of
अभ्यास
the
गरोस्
Buddha.
बुद्धत्व प्राप्त
And
गर्न
so
सकोस् अहिले
if we
भोगिरहेका प्राणीहरू जति पनि
make
दुःख
prayers
भोगिरहेका छन्
and then
तिनीहरूले
make
पनि सुख
wishes that
पाओस्
all of this
उनीहरू
suffering
जति पनि झगडा गर्न
is
लागिरहेछ
pacified,
युद्ध गर्न
that the
लागिरहेछ
war
उनीहरूको
stops,
मनमा
that
त्यो
all the natural
विचारहरू
catastrophes
नआओस्
stop,
भनेर चाहिँ बारम्बार
and
तपाईँले
not only
चाहिँ
that, but
प्रार्थना
all those
गर्नुभयो भने पनि
people who
त्यसबाट पनि
are
धेरै
suffering
कुरालाई
because
फाइदा
of the
पुग्दछ।
war, their bodily suffering ceases and their mental suffering eases as well. And then those
담만난 신기 사바다 자체에 깔로 마문당 요래 아니 딜가자다 니마 니리 자르무시 자바체에 가르나 사마로 가도 미기자 두고 요래 나에 고두고 요래 근데 이제 대다 있는데 양내 양도 녀야다 녀바tam도 마세베 랑기 룽아 이숨기 애니 자주에 탐지 자가도 틈버지 용구 유매 용화이나 있는 제수 일하는 건 마용이나 가리 마용이나 때주다 시합이나 라메카 주바를 하가 취시하여 말에 라메카 주바를 하가 지기 시합된 시하여 말에 제자들이 있잖아요. 되게 되는 예발도 참으로 인다 챈도 삼로 땅지 뒤다 남바균도 배 라렌기 털래 진이장 해투바 시고하데 빼마시 계셔버려
अब मैले तपाईहरुलाई आयो अवश्य पनि दिइसके
make prayers that all those who have deceased be able to obtain human life, and that those who are suffering right now cease to suffer, and that their ailments also stop. And then also, generally speaking, when thinking about His Holiness Dalai Lama, then we can see that since ever he has been taken all of us under his care, just like a mother taking care of her only child, and he has given us a lot of teachings, a lot of advice that we can see, that we can consult, that we can play over the internet. We can see what he's doing right now and everything that he's saying, all the advice that he has given, and then we can also look at whatever he has told and taught and advised in the past over the internet. And so we should not only leave it as that, but we should listen to his advice, his teachings, and not just leave it as something that we have heard once and that is very nice, but we should apply it to make sure that we put it into practice and always try to see whether what we are doing is in accordance with his teaching and his advice. And so there is nothing better, nothing more profound than fulfilling the wishes of one's teacher, and so that's what we should do. Now for the requests, Bhagavat. Blessed One, whatever you comment, all of that I will do.
So now
the Mandalas, Thanksgiving offering.
No balanje cha dame nye le da le ba ngayam da ngayam shi yenden da lam chon do dame nyen da dame nyen yen da rimbro je rewo pasan je she de je yen ba ma me pa ye londo korlo rimbro je Norbo rimbronje, Tsumo rimbronje, Lumbo rimbronje, Langbo rimbronje, Tajo rimbronje, Mambe rimbronje, Tere Chembo Yembomba, Geba Ma, Tenwa Ma, Lema, Garama, Dibema, Medoma, Marmem, Dijama, Nyema dawa rimbro chendo chule namra jave jat lada me bajro benzo zomba mazawa me bade tezo sanje damje je ngowo zome balde lama dambe shanga ne chime tsewa samo lebra tobe kade taranje yendo uloranje tuje dobe dendo shezo Shene Jinje Lam Tu Su.
The Dharma Master Ronjo Tamji Jan Robana Tilende Puna. Sajin Shara Lonja to Sonya Becone, Dijen du Jarlesu, Lenje to Son Orjo, Tene Zamde, Dajen, Jara, Danem Bur, Keje Lomar Suwanda, Chaye Jane Jet, Tene
Now
Zamde,
this is the
Dajen,
reciting together the taking the pledge and then requesting teacher to accept us as disciples. Now reciting together the dedication of merits. By this merit may all obtain omniscience, may all worldly activities caused by the three poisons of greed, hatred and ignorance, such as fighting and despising, be defeated. May all sentient beings be liberated from the worldly oceans of calamities brought about by the stormy waves of birth, sickness, old age and death.
अहिले गुरु बाहिर पाल्नुहुन्छ तपाईहरु अघि जस्तै कोही पनि नउठ्नु होला है तपाई जहाँ बस्नु भएको छ त्यही बस्नु अनि खाता नफाल्दिनु होला अश्रद्धा हुन्छ अहिले बाटोमा जाँदाखेरि तपाईहरु जहाँ बस्नु भएको छ त्यही बस्नु होला नउठ्नुस् है
Now His Holiness is doing the conclusion ritual after having bestowed the empowerment. The long life prayer of His Holiness.
che me che ye ngon do zang do so re san be me to ye la lam ne ken je ne de ra so ni mo ro je sa de lo do be za la ye je ne do ja li she ge do ta de so ngā wāng jī chō lā rī kuñ jī ndō chō kuñ gā jī tē jī ndō ngā lā pēn tē bā ndō mbā rā wē chī lē jī sā pē lē wāng jī jā bō shāb tē sō nām dā chīm tē srē jī sā shē lā te sa gun be ren je do ma ze che je zom da je de ba ren je kya cho re wa lo bro te sho so ya wa ni ba je je ko ma ni ya de je do ni ye te ma shi ya ve lop sa sa mo lop she na ya wa je she de je shab de so pin zon ya se de ye ta she ba pa de sa ge che se pa la bra ne cho zam le ze be gen de je xin sa sun dra je ta de so le me la ma cho so to je da ye da de son ja zo to do da che ni sa mo dre me den be te je dra sa be de dum jiro je je me she so ve guru ga nam che me se je la mo che de ma che me se la wa ve cho nam ye che me se ye ngui do za do so re sa be me to ye la la ne ken je ne de ra so ni mo ro je sa de lo to be za la ge je ne de ja li she ge do ta de so nga wan ju cho la re kun je do do gun ga je te je do nga lam pen de ba do ba ra ve ti le je sam be le wan je ja bo shab de so nam da tim de sre je sa she lam te sa gun be ren je do lo ma je che je zom da je de ba ren je cho re wa le bro te sho so gya wa ni ba je je go ma ni gya de che de ni ye te ma she gya be lop sa sa mo lop she na gya wa je she de je shab de so pin zon ja se de ye ta she ba pal de sa je che se palam bara ne cho zam len ze ben gen de je je shen sa son dro je tar de so le me la ma cho so to je da ye da de son ja ze to do da che ni sa mo de re me den be te je dra so de dun juro je me
कोही पनि नउठ्नु होला तपाईहरु जहाँ बस्नु भएको छ त्यही बस्नु है कोही पनि नउठ्नु खाता पनि नफ्याक्नु होला है खाता नफ्याक्नु
che me tse la wa ve cho nam je che me tse ye ngwe do tsan do so re san be me te je la lam ne ken je ne de ra so ni mo ro je sa de lo do be tsa la ge je ne de ja li she ge do ta de so nga wan je to la re kun je do do gen ga ze de je do nga la pen de ban do bara ve te le je sam de le wan je ja bo shab de so nam da tim de sre je sa she lam te sa gon be re je do ma ze she je zom da je de pa re je kyab cho re wa le bro te sho so gya wa ni pa je je ko ma ni gya de je de ni je te ma she gya ve la sa mo lo she na gya wa je she de ze sha de so zun zun gya se de je ta she ba pa de sa ge che se pa lam bra ne cho zam le je be so lo me la ma cho so to je da ye dan de so ja je to do da che nye sa mo de be gyure me te je dra so be de dun gyuro je ben zo je ye se je ba me je pen zo tse tse la mo nam ja mo pen zo la da do ba ring jin jin pen zo da ba da be nge do zo nga wang wang chun den be sa wang giro ke ge gun jin lo de gun jin jin nam den den cho den be zo wang ja lan ja ve wang jo sham den so cho do ja ve sa so rin chen je chi do je me dra je ve ne je che le na ve sa so kun jam je den be nye ma shab den so ta le she jam ma do ken be tro je je jam pa la yan da go bo je cho me ga ve na da na me le ye le me ma ve sin je shab den so la so de me ken be cha shen so do ve jam je to je se se je dam be tu je ne do de zen dre to de wa chu zu je shab den so jam je do bre se je te shen je to she lam she gu she ja da lam wang ju ne be me to ko lo ge ge den ja so da ni shab den so chu se de den sre je ko ju la nga ve ren chen den je ka lo ju la man dra je so men do den je ta shen je je yuro do ba yuro je do la je men je je che ye la la ma da so do bre ja so ye je la ngun do je ba men ben dre yure men da ba da be she ba zo do la gun je ba je ren je so Chindore son kenze nubengara Kondo de mengo zara chubego Doroje zembe zo ge shabden so Jinye shejang tu jen kenbenze Jishene lo ngon giro dubemba Dokan jise tu jen dameba Tembe so shen chen bro shabden so Se shen nyam se jam gen te waje
तपाईहरुलाई सूचना के छ भन्दाखेरि सबैजनाले दर्शन पाउनुहुन्छ अनि लामाहरूले तपाईहरुलाई बोलाउँदाखेरि मात्रै उठेर आउनु होला अहिले सबैजना नउठ्नुस् है तपाईहरुलाई लामाहरूले बोलाउँछ त्यो बेला उठेर आउनु होला नबोलाएसम्म जहाँ चाहिँ ती बस्नु होला है धेरै हुलभिड गर्यो भने झन् ढिला हुन्छ तपाईहरु जहाँ बस्नु भएको छ त्यही बस्नु होला लामाहरूले तपाईहरुलाई बोलाएपछि अनि आउनुहोस्
Elemenye shabden telepebe gelenzo kunjorenje samje
तपाईहरुलाई पहिला सुरु यहाँ